Welcome to the Steve Reeve Podcast with the best moments from the past week and a few things that didn't make it to air. Monday.
New phenomenon related to Ozempic. Now, of course, this is a drug that was originally developed as a tool for people with diabetes type 1 and type 2 to help lower blood sugars and to help the body manage. It mimics a gut hormone that produces insulin in the body and just, it really does seem to help. But, of course, a side effect of that has been so discovered is weight loss, is that it does seem to help trim down a little bit. There are other things that it does, like making weird things happen to lip skin, I guess. People are saying Ozempic mouth is a reported side effect. That one's not so positive. This one, however, it's called Ozempic schwa schwa. And people are reporting that they've grown in size. Now, of course, the immediate thought is, well, if you're losing weight, you might have a slightly different measurement than before. But some people are swearing. They're like, no, I've measured before in the past when I was at a thinner state, and it was this, and now it's even more, by an inch and a half. Whoa! I myself don't believe it. I mean, come on. As if this isn't a viral marketing campaign. I see you, Ozempic. I see you. Hats off.
It's time for Cruz Music News with Steve Reeve.
The original Alice Cooper group getting back together again, not only for a one-off show that they are saying is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity at London's Union Chapel on July 24th. It's also coming along with a brand new album. They say it's the first time that this group has put a studio album out in over 50 years. It's going to be called The Revenge of Alice Cooper. Out the next day, July 5th. Pre-orders available now. But yeah, the lineup, of course, Alice Cooper, Dennis Dunaway, Neil Smith, and Michael Bruce back together again. It was a very cool night for the closing of night 2 of the Governor's Ball, where Olivia Rodrigo brought David Byrne out on stage. Of course, Talking Heads alum, and they did a song from 1983, Burning Down the House, together. The video is absolutely amazing. She's so talented. And then you've got Paul McCartney joining Bruce Springsteen on stage, not as a political statement by any stretch. They're in Liverpool. They're playing Can't Buy Me Love. There's video of that on the internet as well. It's simply because Paul McCartney was returning the favor. Springsteen joined him on stage at Glastonbury in 2022. Why does it take you 3 years to return a favor, Paul? It's a lifetime. Those cars that you just notice all over town, not necessarily the cars themselves, but I mean the ones that have stuff on them that catches your eye. I spotted a new one that you kind of can't miss recently. There's a Jeep with a spare tire cover, but the cover itself features 3 instances of the Prince of Darkness himself, Ozzy Osbourne. The middle face with a cutout for the bike rack, making it look absolutely terrifying. It's like some creature's coming out of his face. I love it. There are also Transformers all over town. There's a cool Umbrella Corps one. I bet they're excited about the new Resident Evil game announcement. And one of the favorites of mine is the Chocobo Racing one with the Final Fantasy images all over it. I'm a big fan of that one. And there's more that I've noticed around town, but now we get to notice the ice cream truck as well. The season is here, all over town, partly because you can't not hear that La Cucaracha jingle playing everywhere it goes.
Tuesday.
Some quick thinking and just some awareness of the situation turned what could have been an absolute tragedy into a story of some construction workers making their way safely out of harm's way with a wildfire situation in northern Ontario. You might have seen about this. It's been kind of capturing the country's attention this week. It's just an absolutely wild story of a 19-person construction crew who were thankfully, in a clearing space at the time where there wasn't a lot of trees right up close. Still a very dangerous situation. They said that the way that the day started, it seemed like any other, except for that there was just a lot of smoke and a lot of wind. And one crew member in particular, a guy named Carl, said that he was worried at the very start of the day that, that wildfire, it's out of control, it's big, and there's a lot of wind, and that smoke just looks wrong. And it very quickly turned. There's just this incredible footage of a fairly clear-looking day, except for smoke, down the horizon, blocking out a part of the sky. And then next thing you know, it's just an orange and cloudy and smoky and fire-filled scene. They had to hole up in a sea can, of all things. just a shipping container, protected them as much as it could for hours because they could not get, rescue crews into the area. Thankfully, finally, after hours, they were able to drive out of there. They kind of drove a convoy through the smoke. They were able to get to a safe place and get all taken care of. But what a scary situation. There's people on that crew who believed that they were not going to be getting out of there while it was still happening, and I'm sure so thankful to be able to. And some of the footage of the aftermath in that area as well. I mean, just because they were in a metal sea can does not mean that that was entirely safe, because there's just sea cans burnt down by the time the smoke cleared and they could see exactly what was going on where they were sheltering in place to protect themselves from that wildfire. This is a story that is just and rightfully so, capturing people's attention. It's absolutely crazy. So thankful that it does have a happy ending. I guarantee this is going to be turned into like a movie. Unfortunately, probably a mediocre movie, but give it a couple years. This is one of those tales. Big situation still unfolding into day 3 or 4 in downtown LA. A little bit isolated, not spread throughout the entire city, but it is a very big city. And there's a lot going on there. A lot of musicians, artists even showing up in the protests. One of the most visible, Tom Morello, attending the ICE protests, saying, "Defend LA." And saying it's just an absolutely needed thing. David Byrne in the news elsewise. He just showed up on stage alongside Olivia Rodrigo doing some Talkin' Heads tunes at the Governor's Ball. He's now got new music coming out, releasing a solo album, and he's going to do a big tour to support as well. That's going to kick off in September, going all the way into 2026. The new album called Who Is the Sky is going to feature Hayley Williams of Paramore, St. Vincent, and more. And you don't even have to wait that long to get a taste of it, though the album is out in September. The first single, Everybody Laughs, is already out. And sad news to end off on, as Sly Stone, an absolute pioneer in funk music and an inspirational figure, has died at the age of 82. A press release confirmed that thankfully he was peacefully surrounded by family, but it was after a prolonged period of poor health and underlying issues. That's it for your music news this morning.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruz FM.
What are those words that strike your ear as dirty, but they're really not? The one that really I think is at the tip of the tongue, that's got to be a pun as well. Moist. Thankfully, nobody submitted that. We did get a few answers asking, what is a word that sounds the dirtiest but isn't? John saying the town of Fox Creek. Fox Creek. I guess if you say it fast enough, a certain way. Ryan saying uvula. Yeah, that definitely sounds like it's something else. Urges from Patrick. That one, yeah. Urge, I'm there with you. There's some other ones that you might not even be aware of that sound wrong, sound dirty, sound bad, but they're not. Perfectly acceptable definition, like a person who invalidates a document by scribbling all over it. You don't want them at a law firm, unless you really do want them at a law firm, but that person would then be known as a bum fiddler. It's not a great nickname, I guess. Sounds like something that happens after you have a little bit too many beans. Or what about a clatter fart? Speaking of beans, that's just somebody who likes gossip, spilling the tea, somebody who you can't really trust with the confidence and the secrets. And then this is one of my favorites. It is a plot of land that was deforested specifically for the purposes of agriculture and farming as art, which is also what I say when I've had too many drinks and I'm just really feeling emotional about the music that's coming on. Oh, you know what this song is? That's art. That's art, man. It's not a good scene. It's not pretty. It is funny, though.
Wednesday.
There's a town in Pennsylvania that wants to make sure that all of the holes that need filling will get filling, and that you won't have to wait long for satisfaction. Talking about, of course, potholes. What else we'll be talking about this time of year? They are brutal. And not just here in our backyard, where there are some fender benders just waiting to happen. Some wheel well rockers, some flange benders. Yeah, there's especially when there's a puddle in there, you can't even tell the depth. Don't trust it. Never trust it. Although we have seen a lot of those potholes being patched, and hopefully the patch is lasting a little longer than they usually do. I don't know. But in Millersburg in Pennsylvania, they're saying the borough has got a new Fill My Hole initiative, and they want to try and make sure that they hit every reported pothole within 48 hours. They don't make any guarantees, of course, because they say, volume might be high. There might be a lot of demand for those holes that need filling. And they want the details. You got to tell them exactly where to find the hole that you need to get filled so that you can get the most satisfaction out of the situation. I think it's hilarious. It's tongue-in-cheek, obviously. It's attention-getting, and that's the best part, is that people will actually do the thing. Is there a way to report the potholes here? Well, I'm pretty sure it's the Pulse line. Give them a call. Let them know where they are. We've got Hosier in the news. He was just playing at the Governor's Ball, a big collection of different artists down in the States, and he was struggling through it, apparently, and has since now canceled tour dates due to illness. And the virus that he's battling has definitely had some effect on his voice, his vocals. He say that there were moments during the Governor's Ball performance where his voice cracked, and he says, for anybody who's never seen me before, I promise I sound at least 5% better on average than he did while he was dealing with the sickness, and continues to. Tool, one of the bands rumored to be axed from the lineup for the very final Black Sabbath show less than a month away on July 5th. Sharon Osbourne apparently removing some of the members of the different acts that have been announced so far. But Tool going on the record to say, no, as far as we know, we're still there for the Villa Park Birmingham show. And that, of course, is seeing the reunion of the original lineup of the Black Sabbath trio, Ozzy Osbourne, Tony Iommi, and Geezer Butler, as well as, of course, Bill Ward, going to be jumping back to join them on stage for the first time in 2 decades.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve podcast from 100.5 Cruz FM.
Love stories about raccoons being raccoons. You know, they've got the devil's mischief in them, as my girlfriend always says, and her toxic trait is if given an ounce of allowance for it, she would absolutely have a raccoon as a pet. She would 1,000% do it. And I mean, just raccoons being raccoons. Over in the Ottawa baseball stadium, there's a whole section of it that is no longer available. Tickets cannot be purchased. It's all cordoned off, and that's because of a pair of raccoons. One of them having already been humanely trapped and removed, you know, put out into a much more natural setting, although they are pretty at home in the urban sprawl anywhere close to a dumpster or a concession stand. But there's also another one that has been elusive, has not been found just yet. They've left traps out. They're trying to see if it is going to be trapped or if it's maybe has moved on of its own accord. But for the time being, can't get those seats. The Titans themselves, the Ottawa Titans, is saying, we're working closely with our partners, and one raccoon has been safely removed, put into natural habitat. The section of the stadium will remain closed until it is safe to reopen. And really, the main thing is they're worried about the raccoon, not the people. They don't want people messing with that trap or making it, you know, hard for that animal to be safely removed. And I don't know why no one's called my girlfriend yet, because if she were in Ottawa, she'd already be there, and that raccoon would already be found. I guarantee it. I'm joined right now by somebody who has some roots here in the Fort McMurray area, coming back to visit us again, the CEO, founder of Empower to Recover, all about the battle for recovery. Jay Bernard, how you doing, man?
I'm doing super great. Thanks for asking.
Well, welcome back to the community to come and visit. You got a big event happening on Friday, Battle for Recovery here in Fort McMurray at the Unifor building, and guest speakers from right here in the region, all with a message of recovery and that's not a one-size-fits-all thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Recovery is not a one-size-fits-all thing, and the word recovery, there's a lot of stigma around that one, you know, and it's not just about addiction and alcoholism. There's so much more to recovery. The truth of the matter is humanity, you know, we all deal with 3 common things. Trauma, we're recovering from something, and we all have a story. So essentially that truly means that we have an endless supply of hope. So for the Empower to Recover Foundation, you know, Fort McMurray is striding and thriving in recovery, and that's, you know, coming back. That's really what I want to give, is just that.
You've got a long story, just like so many people have a long story, and recovery comes in many different forms from many different sources. And one of the biggest things, and we were just talking about this before we cracked the mic, is that there's a stigma around it, around people view asking for help, seeking help as a weakness. I truly believe it's one of the strongest things that you can do, is to allow yourself to be vulnerable so that you can get that help and grab that insight. And that's a big fundamental pillar of this event. With, like we said, these local speakers are going to be telling their stories.
No, it was even when I was moving here in 2011, right? They were like, why are you moving to crack McMurray, you know? And I'm like, it doesn't matter where you go. I mean, there's stigma everywhere, right? And for me, Fort McMurray, you gave me my whole entire life. You know what I mean? From 2011 to 2015, I was executive chef at the Keano College and got to do phenomenal things with celebrities, and like, so my life became something here in Fort McMurray. So when it comes to the stigma thing that you're talking about, it's just, we have to be open, we have to be honest, we have to talk about the tough subject. 17 plus years myself into recovery, and I've been loud about recovery since 6 months into recovery. And you know, with the amount of suicide and overdose rates today, if we're not sharing stories, like 165 stories today have been shared on the platform, from all walks of life. That's youth, that's MPs, that's mayors, that's musicians, that's athletes, that's everyday people, that's you name it. And for me, that's how we bring humanity back together. So it's community connection, collaboration, and that's how we're going to pull out of, everybody wants to call this an epidemic, whatever. We've been in a trauma-demic for years, and for me, that's how I've always looked at it. We're in a trauma-demic. How do we get out of that? By sharing stories.
I want to talk a little bit about the people that you're going to have speaking here from our community. You're going to hear some real heart-wrenching but heartfelt stories if you come out on Friday.
Yeah, and Ginger, you know, I'm really proud of Ginger. I mean, she's got a business in town. She helps people in recovery. She employs people that are in recovery, you know, and she's really a powerhouse in the Indigenous community when it comes to women, and showing that recovery is possible, right? You know, we're going to have a phenomenal day on Friday. I hope people can get out. I mean, we just went in and cut the price of the tickets too, so I might as well say that. I mean, the price of the tickets got cut because we know the barriers around people attending the events. So I do want people to know that anybody can come to these events.
Well, and you're not, you know, nationally funded or anything like that. The funding for Empower to Recover comes from things like this, from the ticket sales and booths and everything.
Yeah, so. and we're only 22 months. So at the end of the day, this is a grassroots initiative, you know, so massive momentum. But at the end of the day, we have to fundraise all our money in a real challenging time.
And one of the most powerful things is that you're not alone in it by a long shot, and it's the power of collaboration coming together can be a life changer. And so I encourage anybody, if you're curious, if this has got your ears, you know, ringing, then come out to the Empower to Recover event that's going to be at the Unifor building. It's Friday, just a couple days away, 10 till 5. Where can people find the way to register for that?
So www.empoweredtorecover.com is where you're going to get all the tickets. Ginger's catering it, so Ginger Bannock is. They're going to get some.
It's going to be good.
You're going to get some good food down there as well on the day, so that's exciting. And we're also going to be celebrating my mom's birthday, so that's wicked. That's a wicked thing. My mom's birthday, and we're going to sing happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mom!
Yeah,
all
Mom.
together. That's so cool, and she'll get to see you speak and everything. And so I guess one of the takeaways I want to make sure people focus in on is that you're not alone, and that there's people that are out there that are struggling, hustling to get the fundraising money to put together events like this. It's a community that you can become involved in, and it might lead to some really beneficial things. So thank you for taking the time to come out here, and I wish you a really good Friday, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Transmission over. Want more Steve? New podcast episodes happen every Friday, or just tune into the Steve Reeve Show. Weekday mornings starting at 5:30 a.m. on 100.5 Cruz FM.